皆さんおはようございます。こんにちは、こんばんは。お久しぶりです。It's been a while. This is the Japanese Easy News article of the day for June 23rd, 2026. It's coming out a couple days late, but still a good article. So, 2026年6月23日の今日の記事でございます。For our headline today, we have エアコンの修理。悪い会社を選ばないように気をつけて。Here's our vocabulary from the headline. We have エアコンwhich is air conditioner or air conditioning. 修理 or 修理する. This is to repair. It can also be a noun, just 修理, repairs or repair. And then 修理する, to repair, the verb to do it. And then we have 直す to fix or also to repair something. 会社 is a company. 選ぶ is to select or choose. And 気をつけるto be careful, to take precautions, or to watch out for. Jumping back into our headline, we have エアコンの修理. So エアコン is the air conditioner, の something of it, 修理. So air conditioning repairs, using that no to connect these two nouns since they are related. So air conditioner repairs, 悪い会社. So 悪い is bad or even can kind of be like evil, but in this case, probably just bad. 会社, this is companies, so 悪い会社, a bad company. Oh, we're gonna do something to this bad company, and that is 選ばない. So 選ぶ is to select or choose, and we have this in the negative. So 選ばない. This nai form is the negative here. So to not select bad companies or not choose a bad companies, then we have ように気をつけて. So real quick, let's go to the end here for 気をつけて. So 気をつける to be careful. This is in the te form saying you should, kind of like a command or a recommendation. So be careful. And then this ように, what comes before it, we are doing number 2 here so that number 1 happens or doesn't happen. Now, because this is in the negative, we are doing number 2 so that number 1 does not happen. And what is that? So we are being careful so that we do not select or choose a bad company. So when it comes to air conditioner repairs, be careful and make sure you do not choose a bad company, is what this title is saying here. Here is our vocabulary from the article. We have 悪い, which is bad. 国民生活センター, the National Consumer Affairs Center. I believe this is a government organization in Japan. Then we have トラブル, which is trouble, comes from the English word 相談する to consult or to discuss something with someone. 増える to increase. 女性 is a woman. 値段 is a price. 払う is to pay. すぐ is kind of like right away or at once. とても is very. You can throw this in front of adjectives or sometimes verbs, mostly adjectives. And then we have 安くする. So this comes from our adjective 安い. And then when we want to attach する, which is to make something a certain adjective. So our 安い here is cheap. And we use 安くする to make something cheap. So 安くする is to make something cheaper.
エアコンを直すとき、悪い会社を選ばないように気をつけてください。国民生活センターによると、最近インターネットで会社を選んだ人からトラブルになったという相談が増えています。40歳ぐらいの女性は、インターネットに出ていた会社にエアコンを直してほしいと頼みました。会社は今なら値段は1500円からですと書いていました。しかし会社の人は修理が終わると7万円払ってほしいと言いました。そしてエアコンは直っていませんでした。国民生活センターはすぐに直しますとか とても安くしますという言葉に気をつけるように言っています。
All right, let's jump right into our article.
エアコンを直すとき、悪い会社を選ばないように気をつけてください。
All right, so what we have here is very similar to our headline. We have エアコンを直すとき. So エアコン, air conditioner, を is O tells us that there's going to be a verb that does something to our air conditioner here. And that verb is going to be 直す. So to fix or repair. So エアコンを直す to fix or repair your air conditioner. And then all of that is connected to 時, meaning the time or when, right? So the time when you do this. エアコンを直すとき, when you fix your air conditioner. 悪い会社. So 悪い is going to be bad, connected to 会社, which is a company. を once again is going to tell us this is our object. So we're going to do something to it with a verb, and then our verb is 選ばない. So 選ぶ to select, in the negative 選ばない. A lot of this has been in the title, so we'll just cruise through this. 選ばないように. So that you don't choose a bad company. 気をつけてください. So 気をつける to be careful in the て form followed by ください. Please do this thing. So please be careful when fixing your air conditioner that you do not select a bad company.
国民生活センターによると、最近インターネットで会社を選んだ人からトラブルになったという相談が増えています。
Okay, 国民生活センターによると. So this によると tells us according to. This is where we're getting our information. And our information is coming from the 国民生活センター, which I forget the translation. Let me check that real quick. So the National Consumer Affairs Center is what that's called again. So 国民生活センター. The National Consumer Affairs Center によると. So according to that center, 最近 recently, インターネットで. So インターネット, the internet, で on the internet or by means of the internet. 会社を選んだ. So 会社, company を verb gonna do something to the company, and then our verb is 選んだ. This is 選ぶ in the past tense. And then all of this is modifying 人, which is a person. So, or people in this case. So people who have chosen a company via the internet. から, so from these people who selected their company to repair their air conditioning on the internet. So they selected such a company that using the internet, right? トラブルになった. So トラブル is trouble or a bad situation. になった is going to be になる. So トラブルになる. You become in a troubled situation. なる means to become. Something changes. Something bad happens in this case. So トラブルになった got in trouble. And this is なる in the past tense here. という is just kind of like describing such things. And we have 相談. So 相談 is consultation or people asking for things or asking for guidance in this case. So トラブルになったという相談. This is they were contacted and asked for advice from people who selected these companies on the internet saying that they got in trouble. And that is what kind of 相談 we have here. and が増えています。So が this 相談 these inquiries are going to do something with this が since they are the subject and 増えています。This is 増える to increase in the ている form. So are currently increasing. 増える means to increase. So it's getting more and more. So basically to put this all together, according to the National Consumer Affairs Center, recently they have had more and more inquiries saying that I've gotten in trouble from people who chose these companies via the internet.
40歳ぐらいの女性はインターネットに出ていた会社にエアコンを直してほしいと頼みました。
Okay, 40歳ぐらいの女性は So 40歳 is going to be 40 years old. This side is a counter for years old. ぐらい is around, so around 40 years old. No, this is going to describe what our thing is that is around 40 years old. の女性 is going to be a woman. And then this wa tells us this is our main topic or framework here. So a woman who is around 40 years old. And then there's going to be something this woman does or is. Then we have インターネットに出ていた会社. So インターネット is going to be the internet. に we use に with the particle here 出る to appear or show up in this case. And that is in the ている and past tense here. So 出ていた was showing up on the internet. So インターネットに出ていた something showing up on the internet in the past tense. 会社 so a company that showed up on the internet. And then to that 会社 using the particle にエアコンを直してほしいと頼みました。So エアコン is going to be the air conditioner. Oh, once again, we have a verb that's going to do something to our air conditioning. That verb is 直して or 直す in the て form. 直す is to fix. And then the て form followed by 欲しい means we want someone else to do something for us. So the た form is for when we want to do something. て欲しい is when we want someone else to do something for us. And then と頼みました. And then this と tells us this is a quote, or in this case, something that someone requested. And then our verb 頼みました. So 頼む to request. And then that is in the past tense must form here for politeness. So our woman who is around 40 years old requested, this to is kind of like a that. This is a thing, it's marking the thing that she requested. That she wants them to fix or repair her air conditioner. エアコンを直してほしい to a company that was on the internet. So one company that showed up on the internet, that she looked up on the internet and it was there.
会社は今なら値段は1500円からですと書いていました。
Okay, 会社は so this 会社 is the company she requested. は tells us it's our main framework or topic here. And then we have a quote. 今なら so 今 is now. なら if it's now. So 今なら can be like a sales technique like ooh, only now it's going to be this price, or only now we can give you this special thing, right? So 今なら if it's right now. 値段は so 値段 is the price, and は once again our main topic or framework within this little section. So if you do it right now, the price is 1500円からです. So 1500円 it's going to be 1,500 yen. And then this から tells us starting from. So that's the lowest price, 1500円から. Could be a little higher, but it can be as low as 1,500 yen here. And then this です tells us it is, right? So 今なら if it's now, if you do it now, 値段は the price is 1500円からです。It is starting at 1500 yes. 1500 yen. Sorry. と once again, this is our quote, which we already know is a quote because it's in quotes, but we still say that と and then 書いていました. So this is 書く to write in the ている form and then put in the past tense. So 書いていました. They had written on the website, and who is it? This company had written on the website that if you do it now, the price is starting as low as 1500 yen. 1500円からです。
しかし、会社の人は修理が終わると7万円払ってほしいと言いました。
Okay, しかし、however, a more formal, kind of fancy, however. 会社の人は、会社 is company, の something from the company, 人 a person. So a person from that company は main topic or framework here. 修理が終わると So 修理 the repairs が the repairs are going to do or be something. And then that verb that they are going to do is 終わる. So 終わる to be finished. And then the と says upon this thing happening or when this thing happened. So when the repairs finished, 修理が終わると7万円払ってほしい. So 7万 is 70,000. 円 is yen, so 70,000 yen. 払ってほしい. So 払う is to pay. Once again, we see the て form with 欲しい, meaning we want you to do something. 払ってほしい. We want you to pay 70,000 yen. と言いました. So と, once again, this is something they're saying, so we can think of it as a quote. And the quote is pay me 70,000 yen. And then this と言いました says they said this. It comes from our verb 言う in the must form past tense. So と言いました. So, however, a person from the company said, I want you to pay 70,000 yen once the repairs completed.
そしてエアコンは直っていませんでした。
Okay, そして can be like then or also. In this case, it's like, oh, in addition to that, エアコンは so the air conditioner は we're narrowing our topic down to that air conditioner. 直っていませんでした. Okay, so this is 直る for something to be fixed. 直す is for us to fix something. 直る is to fix something. It's a transitive, intransitive thing there. But then we have 直る in the ている form and in the past tense and in the negative. So something interesting about the ている form, we're always talking about a certain period of time. So I've seen a lot of beginners get really tripped up with like how the ている form works in the past tense. And that's kind of what's going on here. But we can always think of it, okay, at a certain point in time, this is the state that it was in. And that can either be negative or affirmative. So in this case, 直っていませんでした. So the ている tells us, all right, at a certain point, it was in this state, or it was doing this thing. In this case, 直っていない would be not fixed. It was not fixed. It was in this non-fixed state. And so we can put that in the negative and the past tense here, right? So 直っていませんでした. ている tells us we're talking about a certain point in time. And then that negative and past tense tells us that was in the past and it was not done in the past. So not only did they say, yes, you have to pay us 70,000, which is about $700, not with the current yen rate, but whatever. So in addition to that, the air conditioner was not even fixed. So 100% a scam.
国民生活センターはすぐに直しますとかとても安くしますという言葉に気をつけるように言っています。
Okay, 国民生活センターは So once again, the 国民生活センター is the National Consumer Affairs Center, I believe. Don't quote me on that, but I believe that's what it is. Wa is, once again, they are the main topic or framework here. Then we have some quotes. すぐに直します. So すぐに means right away or very quickly. And 直します is 直す in the mas form, so to fix. We'll fix it right away. And then とか when we give things as examples, we can use とか. It's kind of a more casual や. But すぐに直します. So this is one of our quotes here. Or something else like とても安くします. とても is a lot or significantly. 安くする is to make something cheap. And that is also in the mas form. So we say 安くします. So we will make it extremely cheap. という言葉. So という, once again, we're kind of saying this is the kind of thing we're talking about. And the kind of thing we're talking about is these two quotes. And with that とか, also other things like this. And then 言葉 is words or phrasing. So phrases such as, we'll fix it right away, or we'll make it very cheap. という言葉に気をつける. So 気をつける is, once again, to be careful or to take caution of. And then when we're saying what we're being careful of, we want to mark that with a ni. That's why this particle ni is used here. So here, 気をつける, or 言葉に気をつける. Watch out for the words or the phrases like, we'll fix it right away, we'll make it really cheap. And then with that verb there, we connect to ように言っています. So when we give people advice or tell people what we think they should do, we can say ように言う. So ように means so that, and you means to say. So literally we're saying you say that so that someone does something or something happens. So here this ように言っています, that goes back to our 国民生活センター. That is who's doing this 言っています, which is you to say in the ている form again. So they are currently saying that we need to be careful. Right? So putting this all together, the National Consumer Affairs Center is giving advice or saying that we should be careful when it comes to phrases or wording like, we will fix it right away, or we will make it extremely cheap. So basically just being careful and thinking about whether the deal is too good to be true. So that is it for our article today. Thank you so much for joining me. And if you're in Japan and have your air conditioner fixed, make sure they are legit. So, 今日もありがとうございました. Hopefully see you around soon. またね.